my friends in YouTube land. It is yours truly, Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. A little later than what's anticipated, but you know what? Things happen, right? Okay. So I'm only going to be live for about maybe 15, 20 minutes because I want to really cut through the chase and get right to the point. A lot of you notice I very rarely ever use a capo. Other than, hey, Mr. Hammock's Guitar Picks, what is happening, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Other than when I was doing stuff at the Bristol Renaissance Fair and playing any type of a Renaissance type of music where I have to fret down here, but yet have open strings up here. Case in point with this. So as you could see, there's no way I could stretch my index finger to the second fret to get this. Okay, so what happens with a lot of people, they'll use capos for many different reasons. A lot of it is easier for them. You know, they're maybe new to guitar playing, or they've been playing guitar for a long time, but they don't really play it a lot. You know, maybe they sing and helps them with, you know, different keys and that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or sometimes if they're laying down tracks, it gets a little bit, you know, difficult for the hands if you're doing bar chords. And where would you play bar chords? In a bar. Gotta have fun in life, guys. Gotta have fun. But my point is that there's many different reasons why people play capos. However, if they're gonna play first position chords, they sound nice. Here is a very common problem, though. Let's say they're playing with a keyboard player, or they're playing with another guitarist that does not use a capo. And they're going to tell you what the chord progression is. Yeah, I'm playing open chords. It's a D, C, G, back to C, D. There's one big problem with this. Dave, what's that? I don't see a problem. I see one coming right out the gate. Is this chord really D? Well, yeah, it's a D shape. It's D, and that's how you play C. Tell that to a keyboardist. And I could prove this right here and right now. And this is not to say anything, you know, be combative. But this is to help people out so that they kind of get this in their mind a little bit. I'm going to take the capo off, and I'm going to show you. Janice Lala, what is happening? So we have our D, our C, G, C. G sounds different than the other D, C, and G. It's because it is. Now I have two different tuners. I'm going to use this little snark here. I've got one. Hey, George Shea, what's happening, brother? Thank you for tuning in. And thank you, Janice Lala and Mr. Hamick's Guitar Pick. I really appreciate it. I do have another tuner here that our good friend ZipFix sent. He sent me this one. That's Planet Waves. The only reason why I'm not using this right now is because I need the snark. I could turn the head, you know, turn the screen so you guys can see this. Because there's a point I'm trying to make here. When you are playing these chords, I'm going to see if I could get this where it's going this way so you guys can see it. Okay? Without any. Okay. So to me it looks backwards. Hopefully to you it looks frontwards. I'm going to play my D chord. Okay. Now the reason why it's D, it's hitting not the other notes within the D chord, is because the D string, which is your low root in this chord, is ringing out. So there's your D. So if you know how to play these chords, to verify all this, hit the root note within that chord. In this case, it's D, G, B, and E strings that I'm hitting, but it's this. So we know that's D. Now let's go to our C chord, right? We'll play our C. Now let me do this so you can see the screen without a glare. C. Oh. So that's to verify that's a C chord. Now let's go to our G chord. Okay, guys, I'm going to do this as light as possible, as easy as possible. So here's our G. There you go. It's a G. Okay. Now, let's use the same approach, but with the capo. And let's see really what the chords become. Again, this could be important when you're playing with the keyboarders. Okay, let me make sure we got this. Okay. So, there's our D. Oh, geez, there's our C and it's our G. Why did the pitch change? It sounds like it's higher because it really is. So, same approach as you would play your D chord, but now you got the capo on the 2nd fret. Let's see what that chord becomes. It's E. If that looks fun, there it's E. Okay. Now our C chord shape, let's see what that becomes. It becomes D. Now let's see what happens with this G. Right? I can tell you right now it's going to be A. See? But Dave, I don't understand. That looks like G. It's the shape of the chord, but it's not really the pitch of the chord. And you know, I'm not trying to come down on anybody that does this. All I'm trying to do is help people out so they understand. Because a whole lot of times you get wasted in the rehearsal room if you're playing with a keyboard player and the keyboard player is trying to correct you, and then you get all, or get all PO'd and, oh, dude, that's D, that's D. No, it isn't. And if you're playing with a female keyboardist, I'm not a dude, I'm a female. You know what I mean? So this is my point. These are conveniences, and conveniences have helped us in performance greatly. And I will always stand for a person that's a performer to at least make the instrument come to life. And then all the technicalities and the theories behind it, absolutely, yeah, they're movable chords. Yeah, Buckluster, what's happening, brother? Thank you for tuning in. They're all movable chords. However, the reason why you are using the capo is because there are a lot of us that we cannot do weird finger stretches, okay? So here, I'm going to take this capo off, and I'm going to see if I could play the same, now it's an E, D, and A with those same first position shapes, okay? So for instance, to do that, I would have to do this. So my first finger becomes the capo. Let's see what the chord is. Oh, sorry, guys. I see a glare. I mean, like a trail. Yep, it's E. Okay. Now, pretending that the capo is here, we're playing this D chord with, it's a C shape. So I'm able to do this because, I'm playing classical guitar for a long time. My fingers, when you practice a lot of weird stuff, fingering, you get used to it. Okay. Look at that. To justify that, that's D. Okay, so the G, it's going to be tough, right? Because how am I going to do that? Maybe I could do it like this. It's going to sound a little bit weak. But my point is, it is A. And let's go ahead. We'll put the capo back here because normally that's what some people will do. So now, that's just to justify all this and to help people out. Okay. So let's go back to that. We have our D shape. The chord is E, not B, it's E. Okay. The next chord that people call C is actually D. And then the chord that looks like a G becomes A. So what's going to happen if we play, sorry guys, I'm going to try to move slowly so I don't see this, whoosh crap. So if I'm playing an E minor to an A, and then I'm going to add what we think is a B minor. It is not. It's really F sharp to B. Ooh, I'm sorry, guys. To B. And then to C sharp minor. It's very simple. If you have any type of a tuner, whether it's a snark, whether it's Planet Waves, whatever the case is, put the tuner on. And if you want to, help yourself with this, you say, geez, I got a rehearsal, I got a keyboard player coming up, and I'm not too sure what are actually my chords. Put the capo on. If you could put it on the second fret, that's fine. If you put it on the third, whatever fret you're going to put it on, fret that chord that you think is D or C or G, and play just the root note. And let it stabilize too. So, but play the root note, and you're going to find out that it's not D, it's going to be whatever that pitch is. Because especially if you had paid for rehearsal time, this is what gets people so tripped up, and that the hands on time on the clock move fast. And when you start booking a rehearsal time that you got to pay for, that means that you're booked from, let's say, from 3 to 6, or let's say 6 to 9 p.m. That means you got 3 hours. The minute you get there and start unloading, setting up, the clock is moving. So however long it should take for you to set up your gear, if it takes 20 minutes, you just lost 20 minutes. That's just in setting up your gear. Now you got to tune up. If it could take you an extra 5 to 10 minutes, or if you could be talking, well, however long you eat that clock, that's the time you're going to be missing. You're going to be losing that time. So the reason why I say this is because I've played with keyboard players and all kind of, situations. And what has always saved me is knowing my fretboard. So and I've always said this on this channel, that if I'm not too familiar with a certain chord formula, I'll just name out the individual note, because I'm not there for a lecture. I'm there to get a job done, period. And I always get this. People say, well, Dave, you should do this and that. That's fine. I mean, I'm not going to knock them with constructive criticism. I always welcome, because it is good. It helps me. It helps. It's a two-way street. But it's very odd that some of these people, they book rehearsal time and they make that decision, and it'll be their band. That's fine. They do what they want. But then they wonder, gee, how come we didn't get a whole lot out of the recording or rehearsal session? It's because they're trying to play college professor. And there's, again, if that is the purpose of that get together, of that gathering, so be it. That's great. But if it's about getting the rehearsal done, you know what? And if this person is the one wasting the time, they got no one to blame but themselves. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to understanding your fretboard, this is one way of doing it. So if you're really not sure, and I see this a lot in these songbooks. This is where people get this. It'll say D here, but then you put the capo here, and it's this chord, or you move up a half step or 2 half steps, or your whole step, or whatever. Well, sometimes people have brain farts they just don't understand. So I think really, putting a tuner on the headstock is going to help big time. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. So again, now this, really quick, this capo right here, 4 capos, this is, what was it? Kaiser. It's not real expensive, but its tension is specifically for nylon string guitar. Well, why would you put a capo on an Allen string guitar? Well, depending what your style is you're playing. And in this case, and flamenco guitar players, so they'll use a capo too. You're doing all these bar chords. Um, So there are times it's just a very quick way during a set to just move the chord progression around without, worrisome. So it does have a purpose. But let me get back to, that's why it only has like two of these. Uh-oh. Hey guys, I gotta take this call. Anyways, I'll tune in later if I can. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Till next time, stay strong and true, and God bless. Take care.